marched to the Battle of New Orleans at the end of the early British wars. The young land started growing, the young blood started flowing, but I ain't a-marching anymore. For I killed my share of Injuns in 1,000 different fights. I was there at the Little Big Horn. I heard many men a-lying, I saw many more a-dying, but I ain't a-marching anymore. It's always the old to lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at all we've won with the saber and the gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I stole California from the Mexican land, fought in the bloody Civil War. Yes, I even killed my brothers and so many others, but I ain't a-marching anymore. For I marched to the battles of the German trench in a war that was bound to end all wars. Oh, I must have killed 1,000,000 men and now they want me back again, but I ain't a-marching anymore. It's always the old to lead us to the wars, always the young to fall. Now look at all we've won with the saber and the gun. Tell me, is it worth it all? For I flew the final mission in the Japanese skies, set off the mighty mushroom roar. When I saw the cities burning, I knew that I was learning that I ain't a-marching anymore. Now the labor leaders screaming when they close a missile plant. United Fruit screams at the Cuban shore. Call it peace or call it treason, call it love or call it reason, but I ain't a-marching anymore. No, I ain't a-marching anymore. In the heat of the summer, when the pavements were burning, soul of a city was ravaged in the night after the city sun was sinking. Now no one knows how it started, why the windows were shattered, but deep in the dark someone set the spark, and then it no longer mattered. Down the street they were rumbling, all the tempers were raging. Oh, where are the white silver tongues who forgot to listen to the warning? On and on came the angry, no longer following reason, and all the stores were the target now, where just the other day they were buying. Drunk with the memory of the ghetto, drunk with the lure of the looting, and the memory of the uniform shoving with their sticks, asking, are you looking for trouble? No, 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 moaned the mayor, it's not the way of the order. Oh, stay in your homes, please leave us alone. We'll be glad to talk in the morning. For shame, wrote the papers. Why the hurry to your hunger? Now the rubble's resting on your broken street, so see what your rage has unraveled. Barricades sadly were rising, bricks were heavily flying, and the loudspeaker drowned like a whispering sound when compared to the angered emotion. And when the fury was over and the shame was replacing the anger, so wrong, but we've been down too long, and we had to make somebody listen in the heat of the summer. Oh, I'm just a typical American boy from a typical American town. I believe in God and Senator Dodd, and I keep an old Castro down. And when it came my time to serve, I knew better dead than red. But when I got to my old draft board, buddy, this is what I said. Sarge, I'm only 18, I got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I've got eyes like a bat and my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Yes, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school and I'm a-working in a defense plant. I got a dislocated disc and a racked up back, I'm allergic to flowers and bugs. And when the bombshell hits, I get epileptic fits and I'm addicted to 1,000 drugs. I got the weakness woes, I can't touch my toes, I can hardly reach my knees. And if the enemy came close to me, oh, I'd probably start to sneeze. I'm only 18, got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I've got eyes like a bat, and my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Yes, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school, and I'm a-working in a defense plant. Ooh, I hate showing lie, and I hope he dies. But one thing you gotta see, that someone's gotta go over there, and that someone isn't me. So I wish you well, Sarge, give him hell. Kill me 1,000 or so. And if you ever get a war without blood and gore, I'll be the first to go. Yes, I'm only 18, I got a ruptured spleen, and I always carry a purse. I've got eyes like a bat, and my feet are flat, and my asthma's getting worse. Yes, think of my career, my sweetheart dear, my poor old invalid aunt. Besides, I ain't no fool, I'm a-going to school, and I'm working in a defense plant. Oh, you tell me that your last good dollar is gone, and you say that your pockets are bare. And you tell me that your clothes are tattered and torn, and nobody seems to care. Now don't tell me your troubles, no, I don't have the time to spare. But if you want to get together and fight, good buddy, that's what I wanna hear. And you tell me that your job was taken away by a big old greasy machine. And you tell me that you don't collect no more pay, and your belly is growing lean. Now if I had the jobs to give, you know I'd give them all away. But don't waste your breath calling out my name if you don't have nothing to say. And you tell me that you don't have nothing to do, and you keep on wasting your time. And you say when you want to get your family some food, you gotta stand in a relief line. Now it's a sin and a bloody shame about the way they're pushing you round. But when you decide not to take no more, you know I'll put my money down. 'Cause I've seen your kind many times before, and I'll see you many times again. Oh, but every bad thing that's happened to you has happened to better men. So don't explain that you've lost your way, that you've got no place to go. You got a hand and a voice, and you're not alone, brother, that's all you need to know. And if you're still wondering what I'm trying to say, let me tell you what it's all about. Now nobody listens to a single man when he's walking round down and out. So if you're looking for an answer, he's standing there by your side. And you'll never really know how far you'll go till you join together and try. So you tell me that your last good dollar is gone, and you say that your pockets are bare, and you tell me that your clothes are tattered and torn, and nobody seems to care. Now don't tell me your troubles, no, I don't have the time to spare. But if you want to get together and fight, good buddy, that's what I want to hear. Oh, the bullets of the false revenge have struck us once again, as the angry seas have struck upon the sand. And it seemed as though a friendless world had lost itself a friend. That was the president, and that was the man. Oh, I still can see him smiling there and waving at the crowd as he drove through the music of the band. And never even knowing no more time would be allowed, not for the president and not for the man. Here's a memory to share, here's a memory to save, of the sudden early ending of command. Yet a part of you and a part of me is buried in his grave. That was the president and that was the man. It's not only for the leader that the sorrow hit so hard. There are greater things I'll never understand. How a man so filled with life, even death was caught off guard. That was the president and that was the man. Everything he might have done and all he could have been was proven by the troubled traitor's hand. For what other death could wound the hearts of so many men? That was the president and that was the man. Yes, the glory that was Lincoln's never died when he was slain. It's been carried over time and time again. And to the list of honor you may add another name. That was the president and that was the man. That was the president and that was the man. Have you seen the Iron Lady's charms? Legs of steel, leather on her arm, taking on a man to die, life for a life for an eye. And that's the Iron Lady in the chair. Stop the murder, deter the crimes away. Only killing shows killing doesn't pay. Yes, that's the kind of law it takes, even though we make mistakes and sometimes send the wrong man to the chair. In the death row, waiting for their turn. No time to change, not a chance to learn. Waiting for someone to call, say it's over after all. They won't have to face the justice of the chair. Just before they serve him one last meal, shave his head, oh, they ask him how he feels. Then the warden comes to say goodbye. Reporters come to watch him die. Watch him as he's strapped into the chair. And the chaplain, he reads the final prayer. Be brave, my son, the Lord is waiting there. Oh, murder is so wrong, you see. Both the Bible and the courts agree that the state's allowed to murder in the chair. In the courtroom, watch the balance of the scales. If the price is right, there's time for more appeals. The strings are pulled, the switch is stayed, the finest lawyer's fees are paid, and a rich man's never died upon the chair. Have you seen the Iron Lady's charms? Legs of steel, leather on her arm, taking on a man to die. Life for a life, an eye for an eye, and that's the Iron Lady in the chair. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, and the road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. Yes, the highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the darkened yard. And he tapped with his whip on the window, but all was locked and barred. So he whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter. That's the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. One kiss, my bonny sweetheart, for I'm after a prize tonight. But I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply and harry me through the day, oh, then look for me by moonlight. Watch for me by moonlight, and I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. he did not come at the dawning. No, he did not come at the noon. And out of the tawny sunset, before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon, looping the purple moor, oh, a redcoat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door, and they bound the landlord's daughter with many a sniggering jest, and they bound the musket beside her with a barrel beneath her breast. Now keep good watch, and they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, "Whoa, look for me by moonlight. Watch for me by moonlight, and I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. Look for me by moonlight, hoofbeats ringing clear. Watch for me by moonlight, were they deaf that they did not hear? For he rode on the gypsy highway. She breathed one final breath, then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, and it shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. Oh, he turned, he spurred on to the west. He did not know who stood, bowed with her black hair a-flowing down, drenched with her own red blood. No, not till the dawn had he heard it, and his face grew gray to hear how Bess, the landlord's daughter, landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight and died in the darkness there. Back he spurred like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky, with a white road smoking behind him and his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs in the golden moon, wine red his velvet coat, when they shot him down on the highway, down like a dog on the highway, and he lay in his blood on the highway, with a bunch of lace at his throat. And still of a winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, oh, the highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. Yes, the highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door. Come, you ranks of labor, come, Union Corps, and see if you remember the struggles of before, when you were standing helpless on the outside of the door, and you started building links on the chain, and you started building links on the chain. When the police on the horses were waiting on demand, riding through the strike with a pistol in their hand, swinging at the skulls of many a Union man, as you build one more link on the chain, as you build one more link on the chain. the army of the fascists tried to put you on the run. But the army of the Union, they did what could be done. Oh, the power of the factory was greater than the gun. As you build one more lane on the train, on the chain. As you build one more lane on the chain. And then in 1954, decisions finally made. Oh, the black man was rising fast, racing from the shade. And your union took no stand, and your union was betrayed. As you lost yourself a lane on the chain, on the chain. As you lost yourself a lane on the chain. And then there came the boycotts, and then the freedom rides. And forgetting what you stood for, you tried to block the tide. Oh, the automation bosses were laughing on the side as they watched you lose your lane on the chain, on the chain. As they watched you lose your lane on the chain. You know when they block your trucks, boys, by laying on the road, all that they are doing is all that you have showed. That you gotta strike, you gotta fight to get what you are owed. When you're building all your lanes on the chain, on the chain. When you're building all your lanes on the chain. And the man who tries to tell you that they'll take your job away, he's the same man who was scabbing hard just the other day. And your union's not a union till he's thrown out of the way. And he's choking on your lane of the chain, of the chain. And he's choking on your lane of the chain. For now the times are telling you the times are rolling on. And you're fighting for the same thing, the jobs that will be gone. Now it's only fair to ask you boys, which side are you on? As you're building all your lanes on the chain, on the chain. As you're building all your lanes on the chain. From the flat plains of Ohio we drifted out one day for the southern part of a journey. Underneath the bridge the Ohio River sang as we headed for the hills of West Virginia. And the red sun of the morning was smiling through the trees as the darkness of the night was quickly fading, and the fog hugged the road like a cloudy, cloudy sea. When we drove through the hills of West Virginia, we smoked the tobacco and drank of the wine, and we spoke of the forest we were passing, and the road would wind and wind and wind when we drove through the hills of West Virginia. Among all the wealth of the beauty that we passed, there was many old shacks a-growing older, and we saw the broken bottles laying on the grass when we drove through the hills of West Virginia. The Virginia people watched as we went riding by. Oh, proud as a boulder they were standing and we wondered at each other with the meeting of the eye when we drove through the hills of West Virginia. And once in a while we would stop by the road and gaze at the womb of the valley, almost wishing for a path down below where we stopped in the hills of West Virginia. Up and down and all around we took our restless ride, and the rocks they were staring cold and jagged, where explosions of the powder had torn away the side, where we drove through the hills of West Virginia. And the orange sun was falling on the southern borderline, as the shadows of the night were now returning, and we knew the mountains followed us and watched us from behind when we drove from the hills of West Virginia. When we drove from the hills of West Virginia. Let's drink a toast to the Admiral, and here's to the Captain bold, and glory more for the Commodore when the deeds of might are told. They stand to the deck through the battle's wreck when the great shells roar and pound, and never they fear when the foe is near to lay their orders down. But off with your hats and 3 times 3 for every sailor's son, for the men below who fight the foe, the men behind the guns, oh, the men behind the guns. Their hearts a pounding heavy when they swing to port once more. With never enough of the greenback stuff, they start for the leave ashore. And you'd think perhaps the blue-bloused chaps had better clothes to wear, for the uniforms of officers could hardly be compared. Warriors bold with straps of gold that dazzle like the sun outshine the common sailor boys, the lads who serve the guns, oh, the men behind the guns. But say not a word till the shot is heard that tells the fight is on, and the angry sound of another round says they must be gone. Over the deep and the deadly sweep of the fire and the bursting shell, where the very air is a mad despair, the throes of a living hell. But down and deep in a mighty ship unseen by the midday sun, oh, you find the boys who make the noise, the lads who serve the guns, oh, the men behind the guns. And well they know the cyclone blow loosed from the cannon steel, and they know the hull of the enemy ship will quiver with the feel, and the decks will rock with a lightning shock and shake with a great recoil, while the sea grows red with the blood of the dead and swallows up her spoil. But not until the final ship has made her final run can we give the rest to the very best, the lads who serve the guns, oh, the men behind the guns. So let's drink a toast to the Admiral, and here's to the Captain bold, and glory more for the Commodore when the deeds of might are told. They stand to the deck through the battle's wreck when the great shells roar and pound, and never they fear when the foe is near to lay their orders down. But off with your hats and 3 times 3 for every sailor's son, for the men below who fight the foe, the men behind the guns, oh, the men behind the guns. Walking down to Birmingham, way down south in Dixieland, Well, I thought that I would stop a while, take a vacation, Southern style. Got some Southern hospitality down there in a Southern hospital. Oh, all the signs said welcome in, signed by Governor Wallace and Rin Tin Tin. They said come along and watch the fights while we feed our dogs on civil rights. Now, don't get us wrong, some of our best Negroes are friends. Well, I've seen travel in many ways. I've traveled in cars and old subways. But in Birmingham, some people chose to fly down the street from a fire hose, doing some hard traveling from hydrants of plenty. Well, a pack of dogs was standing by. I walked up to them and I said, hi. I asked one dog what they all were doing. He walked up to me and started chewing. I said, hold it, I'm from the ASPCA, Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Agitators. And I said, there must be some men around, there can't be only you dogs in town. They said, sure, we have old Bull Connor, there he goes walking yonder, throwing some raw meat to the mayor, feeding bones to the city council. You know Governor Wallace doesn't mean no harm. Can't you see he's got a lot of charm? He's protecting us whites, both rich and poor, standing in the schoolhouse door, cracking jokes, talking to Huntley Brinkley, serving jury duty, getting re-elected. So I asked them why they spent their time with segregation on their mind. They said, if you don't like to live this way, get out of here. Go back to the USA. Live with all them Russian New York folk singers. Some say they've passed their darkest hour. Those moderates are back in power. Oh, they listen close with open ears. They'll help us out in a couple of 100 years. But don't push them, whatever you do, or else you get those extremists back in. You see, Alabama is a sovereign state with sovereign dogs and sovereign hate. They stand for the Bible, for the Constitution. They stand against communist revolution. They say it's pinkos like you that freed the slaves, and they're right. Jesus was a working man, and a hero you will hear, born in the town of Bethlehem, at the turning of the year, at the turning of the year. When Jesus was a little lad, streets rang with his name, for he argued with the older men and put them all to shame. He put them all to shame. He became a wandering journeyman, and he traveled far and wide, and he noticed how wealth and poverty live always side by side, live always side by side. So he said, come all you working men, farmers and weavers too, if you would only stand as one, this world belongs to you, this world belongs to you. When the rich men heard what the carpenter had done, to the Roman troops they ran, saying, put this rebel Jesus down. He's a menace to God and man. He's a menace to God and man. The commander of the occupying troops just laughed, and then he said, there's a cross to spare on Calvary's hill. By the weekend he'll be dead. by the weekend he'll be dead. Now Jesus walked among the poor, for the poor were his own kind, and they'd never let them get near enough to take him from behind, to take him from behind. So they hired one of the trader's trade, and an informer was he, and he sold his brother to the butcher's men for a fistful of silver money, for a fistful of silver money. And Jesus sat in the prison cell, and they beat him and offered him bribes to desert the cause of his fellow men and work for the rich men's tribe, to work for the rich men's tribe. And the sweat stood out on Jesus' brow, and the blood was in his eye, when they nailed his body to the Roman cross, and they laughed as they watched him die. They laughed as they watched him die. 2,000 years have passed and gone, many a hero too, but the dream of this poor carpenter remains in the hands of you, remains in the hands of you. Oh, the shadows of doubt are in many a mind, looking for an answer they're never gonna find. But they better decide, 'cause they're running out of time, for these are the days of decision. Oh, the games of stalling you cannot afford. Dark is the danger that's knocking on the door, and the far-reaching rockets say you can't wait anymore, for these are the days of decision. In the face of the people who know they're gonna win, there's a strength that's greater than the power of the wind, and you can't stand around when the ice is growing thin, for these are the days of decision. I've seen your heads hiding neath a blanket of fear, when the paths they are plain and the choices are clear. Oh, with each passing day, boys, the cost is more dear, for these are the days of decision. There's many a cross that burns in the night, and the fingers of the fire are pointing as they bite. Oh, you can't let the smoke keep on blinding all your sight, for these are the days of decision. Now the mobs of anger are roaming the streets, from the rooftops they're aiming at the police on the beat, and in city after city you know they will repeat, for these are the days of decision. There's been warnings of fire, warnings of flood, now there's a warning of the bullet and the blood, from the 3 bodies buried in the Mississippi mud, saying these are the days of decision. There's a change in the wind and a split in the road. You can do what's right, or you can do what you are told, and the prize of the victory will belong to the bold, for these are the days of decision. Yes, these are the days of decision. Here's to the state of Mississippi, for underneath her borders the devil draws no line. If you drag her muddy rivers, nameless bodies you will find. Oh, the fat trees of the forest have hid 1,000 crimes. The calendar's lying when it reads the present time. Oh, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the people of Mississippi, who say the folks up north, they just don't understand, and they tremble in the shadows at the thunder of the clan. Oh, the sweating of their souls can't wash the blood from off their hands, for they smile and shrug their shoulders at the murder of a man. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the schools of Mississippi, where they're teaching all the children that they don't have to care. All the rudiments of hatred are present everywhere, and every single classroom is a factory of despair. And there's nobody learning such a foreign word as fair. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the cops of Mississippi, they're chewing their tobacco as they lock the prison door, and their bellies bounce inside them when they knock you to the floor. No, they don't like taking prisoners in their private little wars, and behind their broken badges there are murderers and more. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the judges of Mississippi, who wear the robe of honor as they crawl into the court, and they're guarding all the bastions of their phony legal fort. Oh, justice is a stranger when the prisoners report. When the black man stands accused, the trial is always short. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the government of Mississippi, in the swamp of their bureaucracy they're always bogging down, and criminals are posing as the mayors of the towns, and they hope that no one sees the sights and no one hears the sounds, and the speeches of the governor are the ravings of a clown. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the laws of Mississippi. Congressmen will gather in a circus of delay, while the Constitution's drowning in an ocean of decay. Unwed mothers should be sterilized, I've even heard them say. Yes, corruption can be classic in the Mississippi way. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of. And here's to the churches of Mississippi, where the cross once made of silver now is caked with rust, and the Sunday morning sermons pander to their lust. Oh, the fallen face of Jesus is choking in the dust, and heaven only knows in which God they can trust. Whoa, here's to the land you've torn out the heart of. Mississippi, find yourself another country to be part of.